All right, we're getting over to Mike Eppel at 680, Mike, and we are still kind of tallying up all those numbers from online shopping, and it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, it set some records yesterday. Cyber Monday did. Good morning, Melanie. The tally in from the United States, about $6.5 billion, which was up 16% year over year. Busiest internet shopping day on record for the U.S. Now, keep in mind, a couple of weeks back, it was Singles Day in China, where they had $28 billion in a single day of internet sales. So Cyber Monday, while big and record-breaking, is still not the biggest ever when it comes to overall internet shopping. But, you know, you look at the numbers and what was selling yesterday. It was kind of interesting. Shopify out of Ottawa was keeping a running tally on how things were going globally for internet sales. And at the peak, it was over $300,000 per minute in sales. And what was really hot selling was apparel. Clothing, for all intents and purposes, and accessories. Things like smartphones and TVs, while popular, didn't have the same complete tally that things like clothing did. So that was sort of the running tally on what was going on yesterday. Shares of Amazon.com cleared $1,200 in Monday's trade on Wall Street. That's indicative of how much business that company was doing. Jeff Bezos, the founder, now well worth over $100 billion or thereabouts, and seemingly climbing. And today and through the remainder of this week, all of the shipping and transportation companies, UPS, FedEx, Purolator, they'll be hitting the city streets and delivering all of those items. We have earnings just in from Scotiabank this morning. Bank of Nova Scotia's results a little shy on the forecast for earnings per share, but overall, in its Canadian operations, Bank of Nova Scotia made over $1 billion profit in the fourth quarter alone. We'll have the full tally on all these big Canadian banks over the course of this week. Scotiabank also announcing a deal in Chile today to buy a majority stake in the second biggest bank in that country. That deal announced yesterday by Torstar and Post Media to flip some newspaper properties and subsequently shut them down, citing competition and falling advertising revenue. It is being looked at by the Canadian Competition Bureau. There was a big outcry to this yesterday with almost 300 jobs being affected between these two companies. And the Competition Bureau says, yeah, we're going to look into it. Could actually take a year for the tribunal to hear all arguments. But we're talking about the closure of some of Canada's oldest newspapers in smaller cities nonetheless, but nevertheless, loss of local newspaper coverage was being lamented by industry observers, politicians, unions, all sorts of blowback to this. And again, it's the migration to digital media affecting these companies, but at the same time, a loss of local media jobs. Coming up today, we've got the Bank of Canada in the spotlight because it's going to give its risk assessment on the Canadian economy going into 2018. Canadian dollar will be moving on that. And as well this morning, the morning update on Bitcoin, it is now less than $100 from $10,000 US, which puts it close to 13,000 bucks Canadian. Send it back to the studio.
Got to get me some of those. Can you just pick up a Bitcoin somewhere?
Like a little fraction of a Bitcoin. Yeah. A piece, because that's all I can afford.
You know, and Meghan Markle also moving a business story this morning. That we were about to tell you the story about that coat that was designed here in Toronto and probably bought here in Toronto, to tell you the truth.
And how many are now available? Are any available?
They're sold out, but I'm just reading here that also the blouse she was wearing, you can't see it. But it's sold out too. People were guessing at what kind of blouse it was. It was a Parish dress or something, and it sold out, but you couldn't even see it.
You see all these connections on websites, Kevin. You know, you have the celebrity, what they're wearing, buy what they're wearing.
Yeah.
At
there you
marked
go.
down prices. So it's all interconnected. Comes back to retail sales, doesn't it?